We are here to talk about the Survivor 42 finale with a Mary Ann win and fan guide. Aspen,
Woo!
I don't know if Mike is coming, but I gotta say, are we not the most awesomest drafters of all time? We have to be the best drafters of all time, where our two people that go undrafted are the top two
And I think
finalists.
Romeo was like my last pick too.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I mean, within good reason, he got no votes, so which
um,
he did not deserve no votes. I'll
I actually
just
thought he handled
say that.
himself well, though. I thought he
Yeah,
did
He
handle
did.
himself about as good as you could
He got a
handle.
little too emotional for me personally, because it's like, boy, shut the fuck up crying. Like, no, you did not make no moves in this game, and you know you did. But I mean, he made it there, so good for him. He won
true,
the last
true.
challenge, and he just learned how to swim. So shout out to him for that.
And he admitted it. You know, he was like, "Oh, I'm on the bottom. I haven't done anything, but I'm here." And I mean, what else can you do in that spot except for that? You're gonna look like a fool if you do anything other than that. So, but yeah, I think we're you know what I found fascinating about it being those two who weren't drafted that went that deep is that I consider both of you and Mike, who's not here right now, like we've been around these kind of games and people who play them a lot, and I feel like we all have pretty good reads on people and reads on the attributes that make up a winner. And so I found it weird that the two people who we literally saw the least attributes in to win to go this far. And I think that speaks something to a meta shift in Survivor itself, because you're basically looking at, from what we saw, and we're all decent people readers, these were the two people least likely to run deep. And I think it has a lot to do with their threat level. I think their tribes may have saw what we saw, which is just two very non-threatening people. And the three least threatening people in the whole damn game, and they're the final three. And I think there's something interesting to be said for that.
I just want to say, Boo Boo, I do see you in the background. I will bring you in here in the next 5 or so minutes so you could get your victory in the draft for Marianne. Do you have any comments about Lindsay or Jonathan?
I mean, I'm glad we finally got to see some stuff from Lindsay. Like we actually got to see some stuff from her the last couple episodes. And I think that I don't think she could have beat Marianne. We kind of all knew last week that Marianne was going to win. But Lindsay had a good showing, and it seemed like if anyone was going to be able to beat Marianne, it was actually probably Lindsay and not Mike from the greed I kind of got. So good job, Lindsay.
Yeah, yeah, I
Aspen,
guess.
do you have any thoughts on Jonathan, who was pretty terrible till the bitter end?
You know, it was hard. It was hard to watch me lose my boy, especially in fire making. I kind of just wish he would have pulled it out just for, shits and giggles. But it was kind of embarrassing to watch him lose that fire making challenge. And I could just see him getting so frustrated and pissed off and all his manly, dumb Alabama head. And oh God, it was hard to watch. He took it like a champ. He was respectful. I can appreciate how he went out. He was very. I appreciate how everybody kind of went out this season. Everybody wasn't on no animosity or mad or bitter. Maybe high, but I mean he didn't show it at the time. But at tribal, he showed it.
I'll say for Jonathan that, like, I don't think I was harsh enough on Jonathan, if I'm being honest, Aspen. I feel like I was much harsher on Xander last season than I was on Jonathan this season. Because to even call this guy a comp beast, when if you just throw any puzzle out there, it's over for the guy. Because it will just, he can have the biggest lead on the physical part, but it comes to the puzzle. Come on.
Bruh, why has this man never put together one puzzle in his fucking life? It seemed like, oh my God, yo, it was hard to watch him have the lead and actually could have won and then lose it right at the puzzle. He beat Lindsay out of her lead, out of her advantage. And I'm like, and then he just fumbled. It was sick. It was disgusting.
I think he was hated by the jury too, honestly. I think he was like the shoe in that every other player wanted in the final three. As weird as it sounds, Because earlier in the season, he's the clear physical threat. We even saw it in that last competition up until the puzzle. Like, he's the biggest physical threat of the whole season. And that should mean something if you get to the final 3 and you were the biggest physical threat, because that's hard to do. But everyone knew he was so disliked by the jury that it's like, nope, we're bringing him, which is why I was actually surprised at Romeo's decision on who was making fire, because obviously they didn't get the memo that Marianne was the heavy favorite at that point in time to win it all.
Yeah, they were clearly trying to get Mike out, not Jonathan. What were we going to say, Aspen?
Yeah. I mean, which they should have got Mike out. I thought he was going to be more liked. I thought he was going to have more of a chance, which honestly, I felt like he lost his opportunity at Tribal. He lost it. He couldn't speak. He couldn't. Everybody called him on his bullshit. They like, Mike, are you a man of integrity? Because you lied. And I mean, they called his ass out, yo. And he's like, well, I guess I didn't play an integrity game. Integrity. Like, what?
That sounded a little familiar.
It did. Without giving away too much, me and Nick were talking kind of about that right before we went on the air, and about how at Final Tribals, people just want you to own up to your stuff. Like, you know what? Like, a lot of people are going to give you a lot more sympathy or be a lot more inclined to vote for you if you just come clean about the way you played. And we've seen it on a lot of Nick's shows, where like in the Dot Anthony finale, where just admit what you did. Admit that you know that you are the integrity person who played a scummy game. That's cool. It's a snake-based game. No one's going to fault you for that, but at least admit it. Don't still try to act all noble and full of integrity when you're getting called on your bullshit. Just admit it. Just admit
Exactly.
Yeah, that's because it's hard to prove yourself as the winner in that final jury if you're saying you played this game of integrity and then everybody calls you out on that, and then you change your mind and say, "Oh, maybe it was a game of integrity." It's kind of a hard sell.
And they go down the line. They went down the line like, well, no, you didn't really, you kind of did that me dirty. Oh, wait, me too. Oh, wait, me too. Oh,
I mean, like they had the receipts on his ass too. High like, you remember when we was on the beach and you said, I think it was Omar doing his little Mike mocking voice, which was absolutely immaculate. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna have to vote Gray off, or like, I'm like, oh wow, oh okay. I mean, they slaughtered his ass.
All right. Well, as we get to Marianne, I'm going to bring Boo Boo in here. She's here on audio to talk about the winner. She drafted Marianne in our comment section because we fumbled it in our draft completely.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
What's up?
Not only, it was so weird because when I seen Marianne and Mike not drafted, it was like, I didn't want to be greedy. I would have taken both, but I figured, well, maybe another viewer will want one. So I did officially pick Marianne out of the two. So
you did officially.
Yeah.
That's my girl. Her quirkiness, there was something about her smile. I know her peppiness got on people's nerves. I know that. And she knew that too. That's why when she said at the fake merge, she realized she needed to change her social game and her attitude. She knew what she was doing. She had a read on things. And she was the one who, as Fan Guy had just mentioned, owned her game. It seemed like they were leaning Mike. She won them over. And rightfully so. So good for her. It was like Mike kept on DMing me last night. Have you finished watching? Because we're on different time zones. And it was like, not yet. And I said, they're voting right now. And he goes, well, let me know. And then it was like, oh my God. So I'm so excited. And I'm so glad to be here too, because you guys, I'm a fan of all of you guys. I watch this all the time, every week.
You. And thank you for joining us here.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, Boo Boo.
For sure. We appreciate it. Congratulations. I mean, you picked the champ. I'm really sad I slept on Marianne. I genuinely am. Like, I will never forgive myself for not picking I usually at least pick one POC. Well, I guess I had one, but
You get high.
yeah, but I mean, uh, I just want to congratulate Marianne as being the first Black woman since Vesepia. I mean, yeah, it. And what season was that? Like 7 or something? 4.
4. It was a single
4.
digit. Yeah.
Season 4.
So I
Yes.
mean, I don't know. Marianne did a great job. I definitely came around to Team Marianne, and just hearing her speak so eloquently at Tribal and explain herself, you could tell she thought that shit out. Marianne is actually really smart, like she had answers
She
for
is.
everything they were saying. And like I just was so impressed. I'm like, wow, how well spoken of you to come out here and do this as a 20-year-old or however old she is. I don't even know. But I just was so impressed. I was like, let's go, Marianne. I'm like getting hyped every time she answers something. I'm like, that's right. That's
You know, we gave her all this shit for talking too much, but it came in handy at this final tribal because she showed the fuck out of her game.
Yeah, for sure.
In the word of Lindsay, touche.
And like Boo Boo just said, she owned her shit. Like everything, the stuff she was saying made sense. It was owning her gameplay. Even whenever Jonathan and Mike kind of called her out on it not being her idea to do something with the Omar situation, she owned it. She's like, you're right. It wasn't just me, but she played it in a phenomenal way. And even though
she made it work.
Yeah, her peppiness got on my nerves, and her smile also I loved. So it was this interesting character that we got to see come to life. And I mean, I feel like it was a foregone conclusion last week that she was
I was scared when she was even thinking of using her idol on Lindsay. I was scared there. It was like, so I was so proud when she said, I'm doing this for me.
And she busted that out at the right time in that final too. In the final tribal, she didn't rush to say that. Wait, she just let it all simmer and then busted it out at the right moment. Because a lot of people would have come in and breathed fire. A lot of people would have just been like, oh yeah, look what I did. Look what I did. And she waited, let the whole pot simmer, and just bam, hit him with it at the moment. You could see the jury flip. And I think only KKK Jonathan voted for Mike. So I feel like it should have been unanimous, quite honestly.
Yeah. I mean, when she did the idol drop, I'm like, oh, I thought you ain't gonna say. She pulled it out. She pulled the paper out. Like, here it is, motherfucker. Like, I'm like, tell them you better work that thing, girl. Oh, it was a proud moment.
Well, Boo Boo, since we have you here, I like fresh perspectives. We've been giving our perspective this whole season, so I want to hear your perspective on some of these other players. Since Mike was second place and we didn't draft him either, what's your thoughts on Mike's game?
I think, and I will say that I will point this out to Aspen, because Aspen made this comment in one of your episodes. Don't ever underestimate an old ass man. I say that of a person of a certain age. So
I remember when you gave me shit on Big Brother when I was talking shit about, I don't know. I was talking shit about someone who was old on Big Brother.
Yeah. So I think he did what he needed to do. His downfall was in his answers and his questions. Him saying he was playing. I mean, once they called him out for lying and stuff, then he admitted, okay, maybe I didn't play with integrity. But I would have been curious if he would have owned up to it, if the votes would have been closer between him and Marianne.
I feel like they probably would have if he would have just owned his game and I mean, not even just own his game, be able to sell his game, because he didn't sell his game. He told a lie for his game that he played this game of integrity.
Right, exactly. But I think he played well. I mean, his social game was on point. He had people working with him and stuff, so he wasn't like ever an outsider. So I don't think he was a bad finalist. I think he was deserving to be there.
Yeah, I agree. Who else's other game did you enjoy this season?
Who I was disappointed in that I was really rooting for a long time was Drea. It's like she had all these advantages in the world, and just she would tell people who would blab to other people, and it's like, so it just voided them all out. It's like she didn't win any comps, but she was excellent at finding these advantages. I think some were set up for her, like that one that she volunteered to sit out on because she didn't eat peanut butter and jelly or something. I don't remember what the situation was. Who doesn't freaking eat peanut butter and jelly? I'm sorry. Especially when you're hungry. And they eat worms sometimes, you know what I mean? So it's like, but I would have liked to seen her to do more than she did.
Yes, 1,000. I 1,000% agree. I feel like Drea would have made a beast of a like final three had she made it there. But I definitely was disappointed in Drea. And who don't eat peanut butter and jelly? Who don't? When you starve days. Who? I'll wait.
Exactly. They wouldn't have offered it to her if they knew she had a peanut allergy. So don't give me that excuse.
True.
But
I'm eating a fucking cricket if I'm starving. Oh, look at this grub.
Exactly. And of course, Omar, you guys have been saying that all season long, how he's just he just controlled. He controlled so much of it, and this got cut short. So that was a shame. But I am not sad. I mean, at the final three, I am not. It's like mainly because it helped Marianne win.
Yeah, true.
But
I mean, even Romeo's.
Go ahead. No, I was say, I'm not saying she was the best player, but I am satisfied that she was a great winner for this season. She represented the season well.
Yep.
I was gonna say, even Romeo in the final, he told his story well. He did have to fight from the bottom the whole game. It's not like it wasn't exactly all his fault that he didn't have all these allies, in my opinion.
I think if people had been looking at it from the right perspective, Romeo did all he could do to try to get votes. And if people had been looking at it from a certain perspective, he might have gotten some votes because it is really hard to play from the bottom. Anyone who's played one of these games knows how hard it is to play from the bottom. So there's a lot to be said for that. There's a lot to be said for the person who is second in line every week to get out. It's like, oh, well, we want this person out, but if it's not them, it can be him, and that's fine. It's hard to play from that position. It's not a great position, and I think he articulated it well. And I think he did all he could do to try to secure votes, but there was just.
However, did he put himself in that position?
It's possible.
I mean, we only see so much with the edits, but it's like, how social was he, or how awkward was his suggestions? You know, to where I don't know. Nothing against Roman. I mean,
when you're at the bottom,
he pulled off that last win. True.
Yeah,
he
but
beat Jonathan's as a husband.
He did. I was very, very surprised. But I mean, well, I was gonna say, I couldn't when Romeo was like, "Hi, I was jealous that you was getting close to Drea." I'm like, y'all out here fighting over Drea.
Yeah, that didn't do him any favors.
Not at all. Although it's like, I mean, I don't think he would have pulled Drea in. Is the thing, you know, no matter what, Drea wasn't gonna cling to Romeo. So, but he didn't know that.
Which was kind of Drea's downfall in some ways, because he was kind of all over the place with her.
You pull in the outsiders, right? For numbers, pull in them outsiders. Come on, people.
Going back to Drea, though, and you talked about Booba, her telling her secrets, that was another thing that made Marianne pulling out the idol so great, is that this was She said this was the only secret in the game, and it's true because everybody talks so damn much. So
I mean,
her
she
keeping
didn't
that
even
out
need to use it. She had it so planned out, she didn't even need to use it. That was
Not only did
That
she
was-
not need to use it, she got someone else to play their idol
play one on
for her.
Exactly.
It was a great end game for sure.
Yeah.
Mike played his. We need to talk about that. Mike played his idol for Marianne instead of Jonathan, which I honestly thought he was gonna do it for Jonathan. He took him to eat, wine, and dine them. Like that's what you do. But he played that thing for Marianne.
He told Lindsay, Jonathan, and Marianne he would play it on them. He pulled
did tell
3 of them.
every-
Yes.
Integrity.
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 Oh man.
Ooh,
Lord.
I can't.
Well, another perspective I want from your boo boo, because we complain about the modern twist, and I know you played a lot of orgs with Mike on Discord. I don't know where else you played, but how do you feel about these the twists these past 2 seasons?
Can't stand it, and they're useless. Who has ever rolled a dice that worked? Both times, I don't even know the names of them. I'm sorry, I'm going blank. But when you open, you pick the box. Both times they were safe.
Oh, it was just Sean the first time.
The hourglass thing, of course they're going to use it. Of course they're going to change. So to me, they're useless. And it's like I'd rather them go back to a back to basics season than doing what they're doing now.
I mean, I agree.
With minimal advantages or idols or whatever, just minimal everything. It's like, because this isn't working. I'm not impressed. Don't like it.
Yeah, and at this point, okay, everybody has seen these 2 seasons, so stop doing this. Do something else. Like, if they bring that hourglass back one more time.
It seems like they're keeping some of them. I hope with the hourglass or the fucking whatever it's called. It's the one with that Deshaun and Lindsay did. I don't know what it's called either because it sucks.
Yeah,
but I hope that doesn't come back.
Pick a box.
Pick the box.
Yeah.
You can tweak the hourglass thing and make it fine, but you got to make sure that they're safe either way or they're not safe either way. Otherwise,
I agree.
That decision makes no sense because they're always going to do what's in their best interest, which is I'm safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't mind if they keep the shot in the dark, but I mean, like, let it actually work on somebody. That one time that it didn't work, guys. Producers, hello.
Now, I'll tell you what, I got 18% out of 2 poker tournaments last week. So I will tell you that shit does happen. 1 in 6 happens more often than a lot of people think it does. Happens 1 out of 6. Which I mean, it's more than people think it is.
You know your math fan guy.
Yeah, you hear 18% and you're like, well, that's not a lot. But like it is. It's more than you want. It's a lot. It's a lot. I find it weird how they all saved Marianne, though. I really do find that crazy how Mike saved her and then Romeo saves her. And she's the most dangerous player in the game. Like, I just wonder if what they're seeing out there is so different than what we're seeing.
It has to be because they thought she was a good drag.
Well, maybe they saw that what we saw in our draft pregame, and they never saw it. Because we didn't draft.
Well, she held a lot in. She held a lot in, though. She didn't reveal her true thoughts. I mean, from what I've seen, she more or less, when she was telling Romeo, we've got to get Omar out. That was the first time I really seen her expose her strategy.
Yeah.
Of something that could have turned on her.
And she waited to the right point.
Exactly. And as much as Mike and Jonathan want to claim it as theirs, they didn't. It was her. She took the chance. Because yeah.
And at the end of the day, they didn't do it. They didn't do it. Y'all didn't pull the move off, so you can't claim it as yours if you was thinking about it. We all think about shit.
True.
And it's arguable.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Marianne, honestly, the only person I would have preferred to see win over her was Omer. I actually
I
do
agree.
think, looking at the scope of the whole season, she was, probably my second top winner just based on her gameplay. So I mean, I think she played great. You can't take anything away from her. It's just she has that attitude that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. And I think to win any of these games, you have to get lucky. And I think she got lucky with the tribe she might have started on because she didn't have too much time to annoy certain people. And because she's one of those people that would get voted out real quick or go a long way. And she faded those first few weeks. She was on a real strong tribe. And she did everything right, man. I mean, just how can you not think Marianne was just the bomb in this game?
Exactly. Yay.
Yeah. Good job. Good
Yes,
job, Marianne.
congratulations, Marianne. Congratulations, Boo Boo.
Thank you.
You beat me in a Survivor draft. Fan Guy asked me if I could yet to beat me in a Survivor draft. Fan Guy did beat me in a Big Brother Canada draft, but I'm trying to sweep that under the rug.
No, take that L, Nick. Right.
That's gonna be my whole argument for Survivor. Is only Boo Boo's beat me in a Survivor draft. Nobody on the panel has beat me in a Survivor draft.
I'm disappointed Mike's not here. Where in the hell did he
I don't know
go?
what happened. I thought he was coming, but he never answered my message today.
He was the one that kept on telling me, "You've got to do this. You've got to." It's like, and he's trying to teach me how to join this thing all last night. You do this. You do this. It's like
hit him up and ask him what happened. Maybe he had to work last minute or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, probably because I know he wasn't gonna miss a chance. I feel like Mike wanted Marianne to win, and from last week, definitely, like Fan Guy said, we all knew Marianne was gonna win. Once she took Omar out, it was a done deal.
And I'm gonna blame editing partially for that too, though, because just the way I saw the season edited, she was the only main character left. Yeah. Like you could say Jonathan, but Jonathan had no shot because the jury hated him. No. So she was really
do you think she? But was she a shoo-in? It's like when the jurors raised their hand, they were kind of on the fence. They were kind of leaning Mike until she said her piece. She pushed him off on her side of the fence.
That's
they
fair.
were leaning.
No, that's fair. Let's give Marianne credit for her. She pulled it out. It reminded me of my first tribal, actually, when I was having to pitch my case about coming from the bottom. And it's dope when you are educated enough and you are well spoken enough to be able to speak for yourself and let motherfuckers know why you deserve what you getting right now. So shouts out to her.
Yeah, I think it was easy for us to say she was for sure going to win because, like Nick said, we got to see everything she was doing. The jury didn't get to see everything that we knew until that.
She had to sell herself, right? And she had to sell herself,
put herself out there, and put her game out there. Mm-hmm. And then it became obvious as we saw with the votes. But I think it was just because that was what we got to see. We got to see the whole picture, or at least the edited picture. And from that, it was painfully obvious to me. Like I would have bet everything that she was winning. I thought there was a 0% chance that Marianne wasn't winning this game.
Okay, this is just one thing that you guys would probably think it's silly and annoying, but I thought it kind of melted my heart in a certain way. It was really endearing to me, I guess. I don't remember the challenge, but it was like they were having to spin around and she was getting dizzy. So she started spinning around the opposite way to try to see her.
That was funny, yeah.
That is Marianne in a nutshell right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate Jeff calling it out too. Jeff's like, Marianne's now spinning back the other way to undizzy herself.
Oh God, we didn't even talk about Jeff. Jeff was getting on my last nerve that final challenge when Mike and Marianne went out so quick. Like, oh my God, a third grader could do this. Shut the fuck up, Jeff.
Right.
Shut up. I don't know if Jeff. I want to see Jeff Probst do these challenges.
Yeah, they don't eat, they don't sleep. They're in. Yeah, and it's like he's all, oh, anybody can do this. Yeah, uh-huh.
You could tell Mike.
They've already got the shakes and whatnot from not eating and just nerves in general. And it's like,
oh, I dropped a fucking ball, dude, with my shaky ass malnourished hand. I'm sorry, Jeff Probst. I dropped the ball.
I don't know about Mr. Jeff.
Mr. Jeff, we about to have to retire, and we about to have to bring in some young new talent. Bring in Jonathan to host this thing.
Well, not Jonathan, but
Oh, Jonathan, really? Aspen, you can't do better than that.
I think Xander would be better. Oh, Mike is here to join us at our.
Let's go.
Hello,
There's Mike.
Hi.
Let's hear all your thoughts on the finale.
Yeah, we waiting. We waiting. We've been waiting.
It was a pretty average season with the above average winner in my opinion. I think Marianne was the most deserving winner of the final 5 that we had going into the episode by far. She played a great game. All the people who said all the
Been hanging
people
out with Jonathan.
all the people who said they all the people who said Schilling did like one thing are just wrong. They obviously didn't watch the same season that I did. People just refuse to accept any winner who isn't just like an alpha male who controlled the whole season. Like, sorry, but that's just not who wins anymore.
Wait, did people say she didn't deserve it? I didn't see that.
People say all kinds of stupid shit if you look.
True.
Who did they think deserved it of the finalists?
I think they wanted
Come
Mike
on.
and Jonathan. Pretty
Mike?
much. A lot of people, I think, claimed Mike played the better game. All you have to do is go to Twitter and just read like the first 2 comments from like the first. 2
Oh, that's the
ratings.
last place I go. I avoid it.
And then you just see like the idiots that are on there, like,
People are dumb.
I think we'd already discussed this, but if he would have owned his game from the get-go, he may have had a better chance, at least more votes.
I think so.
No, I played this integrity game, and then they had to call him out and said, well, maybe I didn't. So
It was
yeah.
it was the Dot effect, like we said episodes ago. Even though I think personally, even though it's a different game, Dot played a more strategic game than Mike even did. So there's that too.
It's very similar though, with like the jury being like, "Oh, if they own it, if he owns it, I'll respect it." We heard that from High before the thing, but I'm half of the opinion that most of their minds were made up regardless, and they were just looking for an excuse to not vote Mike.
I can see that.
But you don't think Marianne killed it with her answers and her speech and answers?
No, she definitely did. I'm just saying. I literally opened with like, "Oh, these idiots on the internet are wrong." She played a fantastic game, just because she wasn't puppet mastering like Omar was the whole game, just because she wasn't doing what Mike did the whole game. She did what she needed to do to win, and at the end of the day, that's way more important.
She played her game, and nobody can hate on that. Everybody play their game different ways. And at the end of the day, whatever she did to win that $1 million, probably $650 after taxes, she deserved that. She did. I'll argue it to the end of time. Marianne, she deserved that. Out of the final 3 that we were given, she played a better game than Mike, and that's without any bias or just straight up watching the game.
I think
And it was
Romeo,
almost
I
a
think
unanimous
Romeo
vote.
played a better game than Mike. Sorry, Nick.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying I think Romeo played a better game than Mike.
I think that argument could actually be made, in my opinion.
I think Romeo had a better Final Tribal Council performance by like a lot, but that's.
I do too.
I'm sensing a little bit of Homer bias there. I don't think Romeo played a better game than, dude. I mean, like,
Go ahead, Mike.
No, it's all good.
No, I was going to say, was it during just after the votes were read, their little get together when Romeo said his goal was to get to the final, he didn't want the $1 million? That's BS.
Everyone wants $1 million.
Don't you think?
Can I just say, I with a burning passion despise. Oh, your dreams of winning Final Tribal Council got crushed right before this commercial break. Let's come to you for comment. I'm sorry. Give these people, winner or not, time to process their emotions and everything that has happened. I could not imagine doing a reunion show right after things happen. Like, I've sat through these and I've had like the emotions with that. I couldn't imagine actually being on an island and then being like, "Ooh, you just found out you were actually a goat the whole game."
True.
say about that, I'd probably sit there and go, "Yeah, I just wanted to make the end. I didn't really care about winning $1 million."
Yeah, what was he supposed to say? I'm not mad that I got 0 votes.
Yeah.
Right. Did anybody watch the after party show? I ain't have time because obviously y'all know I was
No,
just
I
finishing.
kind of turned it off after they read the votes. I'm not gonna lie.
I did
It
too.
was too long for me as well, to be honest. But Boo
Yeah,
Boo
3 hours was- I watched parts of it on and off. It was like to where I think it was folding clothes, went out to the dryer or whatever. So I was on 100%, but no, it was just most of them just reminiscing. It was nothing,
No juicy, no
Yeah.
tea, nothing.
nothing.
Because they
Yeah,
didn't have time for
Kumbaya.
the process. There's
Yeah.
no.
And it was all kumbaya. That's how but it was kumbaya for almost everything. I mean, Omar appreciated when he got voted out. Dre was appreciated, she appreciated the move. So everything was always kumbaya, although Dre did call out Omar. But other than that, it was everybody was just a love fest. Until they get home and find out what really happened and they watch it.
Yeah.
True.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, any final thoughts on season 42? I guess, Mike, you weren't here, but when are you, Fanguy, and DJ Aspen going to get up to Boo Boo's level and beat me in a Survivor draft?
I will consult Boo Boo prior to making my picks for season 43.
Let me get the thing.
Need to.
I'll only participate in non-American game shows
Okay.
where I have the best record.
You do.
Oh yeah, I'm moving up north, baby. Oh
Nice.
yeah.
Uh,
All right. Well, it was another fun season of podcasting. I enjoyed all the shitting on Jonathan for the past several episodes. I guess until next time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.